How's everyone? That's good. Morning. Oh yeah, very important announcement. You know, when everyone's here, it's big. Okay, just let me know when everyone's right. Okay, well, good morning, Queensland, and it's great to be at the Gabba. And of course, there's a lot of there's test matches coming here. There's a whole lot of activities happening across our stadiums, but I'll get to that very shortly. So in good news, we have 0 local community cases. We have 1 new case that has been acquired in hotel quarantine, and we're not worried about that. And we've had 8,121 tests in the past 24 hours. 8,682 vaccines were administered by Queensland Health yesterday. But also don't forget, people are going to their GPs and they're going to their pharmacists, and we'll get those numbers through later on today. So in good news, we are at 79.63% first dose and 67.38% fully vaccinated with double dose. So we're getting closer to that 80%. And in good news, our regions are doing really well. So can I do a big shout out and thank Mackay, Central Queensland and Northwest Queensland. They've had increases of over 2.4% over the last week, which is fantastic. Moreton Bay North has had an increase of 2.3% and Logan 2.3%. So exactly where those regions where we want to lift those vaccination rates, they're really stepping up. So well done and thank you very much. But of course, we still want to see our 16 to 39-year-olds getting vaccinated. They're the cohort. So if you're a young person out there and you're thinking about whether or not you should get your vaccine, please go and get one. Well, today we are taking another small but important step on our road to keeping our freedoms. Now, I've always said as Premier, I am determined to unite Queenslanders. We have been united in our fight against this Delta virus, but now we need to all be united in our effort to get vaccinated. People should be rewarded for what they have done so far, and I want to thank Queenslanders for everything they have done. When you look at what other states have been through, Queenslanders have shown time and time again that they are prepared to step up. So as a reward and an encouragement, once we reach 80% single dose, we can do without the masks. Now, of course, you will still need to wear those masks at airports and on planes, and it is encouraged that you also wear them where you cannot on public transport. So that's, taxis and ride shares. Now, that also means that we are so close as soon as we hit that 80%, which should be in the next couple of days. But don't throw them away because you never know when we'll need them in the future. Now, people who are vaccinated have absolutely stepped up and done the right thing. Well done. And you deserve to keep your freedoms. A vaccinated person is 86% less likely to contract COVID and a 90% less likely to die. That's why today I'm announcing a range of restrictions that are lifted for the fully vaccinated right across Queensland. So this is really important information, Queenslanders, so we'll go through it. There will be no COVID restrictions on pubs, clubs, cafes, restaurants, cinemas, theatres, music festivals, stadiums, provided all staff and patrons are fully vaccinated. There will be no COVID rules to do with densities, and this is when Queensland reaches 80% double dose, so the 17th of December. Weddings will return to normal provided everyone is fully vaccinated. And if you want to go to the AFL or the NRL or State of Origin, you must be double vaxxed. This is both a reward for the fully vaccinated and a precaution for when the borders open and we will see more cases in our community. And people deserve to know that they can go to these places and that they are safe. So this is our next step in keeping Queenslanders safe. I think people want to be able to go to a music festival or a stadium or a cafe or restaurant and know the people who are around them are fully vaccinated and it's safe for their family to go to these venues. So it's really now the time, if you are not vaccinated, to go and speak to your GP about any issues you have or your pharmacist, and please go and get vaccinated because these rules will come in on the 17th of December when we hit that 80% double dose. Now also, to protect the vulnerable, this is really important, only the vaccinated will be allowed to visit our hospitals except in end-of-life and emergency situations. And like I said, I know there may be some people out there who have some concerns, and that is only natural, but there are people who are just thinking, should I go and get my vaccine or not? Now is the time to go and speak to your GP. So this is an important step, Queensland, about keeping our freedoms. We have worked so hard. Our vaccination rates are going really well, but people want to continue to know that they are safe, and the best way that we can protect you and your family is when you're coming up, especially to the Christmas holidays as well, that you'll be going in and out of venues where you will have to show your vaccination on your check-in app, and you will have to be fully vaccinated, and so will the staff. So I'll hand over now to the Deputy Premier, and we'll go through a bit more in detail, and then we're happy to answer questions. Okay, DP?
Thank you, Premier. Most Queenslanders have already done what we asked of them. Nearly 80% of us are already on our journey to be fully vaccinated, and we always said that those Queenslanders who were vaccinated would be rewarded for getting vaccinated with more freedoms. And today we are outlining what those freedoms will be. From the 17th of December, people who are vaccinated will be able to go to the pub, to nightclubs, to concerts, to events at stadiums, to restaurants, to cafes, to visit loved ones in nursing homes, to state-run galleries and museums. Those who are vaccinated by the 17th of December will be able to go to Christmas parties at venues, to New Year's Eve parties at venues, to weddings. Importantly, without any restrictions. This is a reward for people who have been vaccinated so that their lives can get back to normal. It's safe because we will know that everyone else who is with them at these venues is also vaccinated. We said we would consult with business and industry about how to implement these kinds of rewards, and we have listened to that feedback in developing the plan that we are outlining to you today. To everyone who's not on their vaccination journey, that 20% of eligible adults, it's not too late. There is plenty of time this week to go and start getting vaccinated, get your first vaccination, and so from the 17th of December, you'll be able to enjoy the same rewards as all of these other Queenslanders.
This is great news for staff and customers, knowing that it's increased the safety for them, and it's also great news for businesses because it means they'll be able to operate at full capacity again once they have everyone vaccinated coming into their venues. I know that's going to be exciting news for younger people who like going to music concerts and going dancing at our pubs and clubs. We will have 100% capacity again because of these new rules. I want to remind people, please keep using the Queensland check-in app. It is so important as we go forward and as we open up more that people are using the check-in app so we can contact trace. Of course, the great news about masks, we are days away from being able to remove the masks across the 11 LGAs in Queensland and only needing to wear them at airports and on planes anywhere in Queensland. But also we remind people, no matter where you live, if you're on public transport, buses, trains, in taxis, Ubers, of course in shopping centres, we recommend you wear those masks where you can't social distance. So this is great news. It's another step forward. It's a great way of making sure we're keeping our community safe. We have listened to business. We have responded. The key issue here is the virus is coming. At 70% double dose, we will have people on planes right across Queensland who could be carrying the virus from Victoria, New South Wales and the ACT. That's only a couple of weeks away. And at 80%, we'll have people coming by road as well. So please don't wait. The virus is coming. It's going to infect the unvaccinated. So if you have not got vaccinated yet, come out, get vaccinated today, start your journey, keep yourself safe, look after your loved ones, and of course, support our economy.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, Minister. Good news, 0 local acquired cases, only the 1 hotel case, and that's a person who's come from overseas and they've travelled from the UK via Singapore. Most importantly, no cases in the Goondiwindi region and no cases in Cairns, despite the testing there, which is really positive. Probably the other big thing just to remind people is that as vaccination rates increase, as we've all heard, there will be increased freedoms and rewards for people. But as the Minister has said, we will have people coming into Queensland, we will have cases. And I'm sure you've all seen some of the reports from New South Wales, and just to remind those people who aren't vaccinated yet to please come forward and get vaccinated. New South Wales reports show that if you are unvaccinated, you are 16 times more likely to be admitted to ICU or die. We don't want that to happen to Queenslanders. We want Queenslanders to come forward and get vaccinated. And I'll just finish with the same message. If you've got symptoms, get tested. And if you haven't been vaccinated, please get vaccinated. Thank you.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Premier. Good morning, everyone. From the very beginning of the pandemic, we've always taken a very educated approach to compliance, one of initially compassion, communication, and then compliance. When these directives change, we will again take that approach. However, non-compliance will not be tolerated and there will be enforcement action. We don't expect venues to act as the police. That is actually our role. We do expect venues to please, when these changes come in, to display the vaccination rules. Ask for the evidence of vaccination. And if there is no evidence, they can obviously ask that person to leave. And if they refuse to leave, to call the police. As I said, it is not the venue's role to be the police. We will do that for you. We have seen bad behaviour in other states. And I just reiterate the message that that will not be tolerated here, that if people do not comply, there will be enforcement action. And as you know, that enforcement action amounts to $1,378. So once again, we have been an amazingly compliant state when we change these directives. We've all tried to do the right thing, and the vast majority do. So I ask that we please respect the staff at venues and businesses. And as I said, if there's non-compliance, police will be called in and enforcement action will be taken. Thank you. Thanks, Premier.
So to add to what's already been said, we stand here today in Queensland with only having had 2,099 cases and 7 deaths for the entire duration of the pandemic, because our operations are focused on keeping the virus out of this state and stopping its spread, keeping our community safe. So through the 1.5 million domestic passengers we've processed, the 3,500 we refused, the 2.35 million vehicles that we've checked at our borders, and 31,000 refused, and the 108,000 nearly quarantine notices that we've issued for international arrivals, and the 350,000 shifts that our police have worked, we have tried to keep the virus out, and we have been extremely successful. We now move to a phase of our operation where we bring people back, and we start to have operations that allow movement back into this state. I know there's been great concerns around what this is going to look like. I can assure you, as we have done through all this operation, our planning has been meticulous and detailed. It will be focused on making sure that we can open up the state as we progress to 70 and 80%, and that we can keep things moving in a way that our community can get back to normal, but while we mitigate the risk that COVID still poses to our state. So obviously that focuses on our venues and the obligations that they have. We will support venues to make sure that they can do what they need to do and that they themselves do the right things. But particularly for those people that are not vaccinated, you must realise that there is an obligation on you to consider your position and what you should do going forward. Similarly, with our borders, we will focus on making sure that we can keep it moving, both air and roads, to make sure people can come into this state, but also to make sure that we reduce the risk to our community of further spread of the virus. It will evolve. So what you see today at our borders and what you will see as we get close to 90% will change considerably. We'll keep you informed, and we look forward to keeping the community safe as we go forward. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
The toughest one would be the prisons, the hospitals, aged care. There are, which you've said before.
Yeah, vulnerable settings. Yeah.
Maybe due to illness can't
Yep.
What would be the sort of standards around those people?
Look, health will look at those individual circumstances. But look, can I say, Queenslanders are doing a great job. Look, already in Brisbane, we are on track to get to 90% first dose. This is great news. And we are seeing a pickup in our regions. You know, Queenslanders do a great job. We always are united when it comes to natural disasters. And now we need to be united in this fight against the virus. And we are on the cusp of something really great here. I mean, Queenslanders have done a great job keeping the virus out of this state, and it's going to come. And the way we are going to minimise the impact on families is for families to get vaccinated. So today I'm really urging families who are yet to be vaccinated to step up, come out and do the right thing and be vaccinated. And that means that you will be able to be rewarded with enjoying all of the things we used to love and took for granted, like, you know, going to cafes and pubs and clubs and outdoor festivals where there are no density limits. So we want people to enjoy the school holidays. So please, if you haven't been vaccinated, go and talk to your GP.
Given that practically at the 80%.
This is for 16 and over. No, this is for 16 and over. But what we are encouraging people to do is, now that it's opened up the vaccine for the 12 to 16-year-old cohort, we really would like people to go and encourage their sons or daughters to get vaccinated. Correct, yes. We have decided to take this step to continue to keep Queenslanders safe. Now, a lot of people, millions of people have gone and got vaccinated, and they need to be rewarded for their efforts. They have done a great job. They have done everything I have asked them to do. But as a community, if we are going to stop the spread of this virus, when the borders open and the virus is going to come here, we need people to get vaccinated, and families want to know that they are safe when they are out in public settings. And the best way they can do that is for us to announce these decisions today. These are tough decisions, but they are in the best interests of families and keeping people safe in this state.
We're almost at that 80% one dose coverage, and given that this announcement is going to be a big boost for a lot of young people.
Yes,
as well,
and it gives certainty for business. And Lydia, you are right. It absolutely gives certainty for young people. There's a lot of young people that want to go out, enjoy the nightlife, have those music concerts and festivals back, and they'll have the certainty of knowing that they are going there and everybody else is vaccinated.
So
just like,
given that that's been done, have you had any updated advice that the 80% double dose will be reached before December 17th?
Look, if it does, it'll be 1 or 2 days. At the moment, our projections are still for 17th of December.
Premier, if it is a little bit earlier, again, these will come in?
Yes, they will. But we're only talking 1 or 2 days at the moment, according to our projections.
Just on the hospitals.
Yeah, when you arrive at a venue, you will have to show your check-in app, and by, I think it's by the 17th of November, you'll be able to register your vaccine on your check-in app. So it's going to be very easy, very seamless for people just to get out their phones and do exactly what they've been doing now to show that they are vaccinated. But also to staff at these venues will also need to be vaccinated as well.
What restrictions will be imposed on funerals?
I'll check that for you. Yeah.
What about international travellers who might not have an Australian issued vaccination certificate? How will they prove that?
Well, the federal government they are recognising certain vaccines, and those vaccines they'll be able to download that app and show their vaccine. We'll work that out with the Commonwealth government. Yeah.
I know that there'll be times where you'll have to look at cases, but
Yep.
to give you a scenario, there's an unvaccinated person whose mother's passing away in hospital on
End of life care, we said they will be exceptional circumstances. So, correct, yes. We've actually said that clearly here. Yeah.
And is this
Considering fully vaccinated, as in just had my second dose 2 hours ago or 2 weeks?
No, as soon as you've had your second dose, we will consider that.
Were
Yep.
all businesses and unions on board with this?
Sorry?
Were all businesses and unions on board with this?
I think business wanted certainty, and today we are giving that certainty. We have had discussions with the unions as well. The business and unions have been part of our industry alliance now from the very beginning, and this gives them the certainty that they need to prepare for the Christmas holidays.
Why hasn't the mandate been extended for teachers?
We are looking at all of those issues, but at the moment we have not taken that step, but it is still under active consideration.
Cruise industry, Premier, is that
Yes.
is this going to be the same when it kicks back off again for cruising?
In terms of,
The restrictions will be the same if you're not on vaccinated cruising, if you can't prove yourself.
I think you'll see that will be, we had a preliminary discussion about that at National Cabinet. I think the Prime Minister is going to make more announcements about that, but I think you will see those requirements being their fully vaccinated people going on cruises, is my understanding, and fully vaccinated crews.
Do you see this changing from
Well, one step at a time, but I think we'll be seeing this for quite some time, and we've seen what's happened in New South Wales and Victoria as well, and they've got similar rules for vaccinated people.
What do you say to those people who are just waiting it out for when the unvaccinated people get the same?
I say don't delay, get vaccinated today.
in relation to indemnity law that was discussed on Friday?
Yes.
Are you on board with everything that's proposed as well?
We have reserved some of our position for discussion and for further advice from AHPPC.
Can you discuss what those
No, not at the moment, no, because they're National Cabinet discussions.
with the
Yeah.
clients and businesses of this?
Yes.
Heard from the Commissioner that staff will be able to call police and back up if they're having difficulty.
Yeah.
But how are you going to ensure that businesses are actually compliant with this?
I'm quite sure that there will be people out there doing spot checks and checking that this is happening. And, the businesses will want to do the right thing because their patrons will not want to get COVID. So this is why everyone is getting vaccinated, to make sure that we are protecting our Queenslanders from getting COVID and ending up in hospitals. And if you're unvaccinated, you're more than likely to get COVID, and then you can pass it on to people. So people who are vaccinated don't want to get COVID.
I'm sure maybe the
Yeah.
Commissioner may be able to shed some light on how things, again, this question keeps coming up, how things will work at the border when they do open. Obviously, people have to show their pass and stuff. Is there going to be an expressway or something?
Yeah, I think, as we get closer to that, they'll be able to talk more about that in detail. There's a lot of logistic planning that's happening, but unless, Deputy Commissioner, if you want to talk about it.
I thought I'd talk about the businesses first. So we already do compliance checks on businesses between us and Office of Liquor and Gaming, so that naturally happens. We've done that extensively throughout the pandemic, so this will be an extension of that. But I just go back to the point that, so they have to be compliant themselves, but we've seen situations where businesses have got into difficult situations trying to police these issues. Please don't. Call the police. And I expect people who aren't vaccinated to know from the very outset that you cannot have access to those businesses. So we expect everyone to do the right thing. I'll get Steve to talk a little bit about the borders and how that's evolving and what our plans are there. Thank you.
Thank you. So actually 3,675 random business checks in the last 3 months. So yes, we are doing that. On the road borders, you're going to see an evolving approach to that based around what the risk is at any given time, what the restrictions are. And if you think about through the pandemic, we haven't done 100% checking except for when we saw the major outbreak in New South Wales. We've always taken a risk-based approach at our borders, and it's really about us being able to identify those that pose the most risk to our community. So obviously as we go forward, they will be the people that are that aren't double vaccinated or haven't had a negative test. So obviously the vast majority of people that are coming across are going to be able to prove that they've been vaccinated, double vaccinated, and have had their test, and they'll be able to come through. We're automating our online border pass system so that people can upfront get their passes. And most of the time, as we go forward and we get beyond 80%, they won't even necessarily be intercepted. They'll come through and then we'll check them through our home quarantine compliance checking. Or post 80%, of course, they don't have to quarantine, so the risk is much lower. So you'll see this evolve. But what people can expect, is that there will be presence at our borders, and that we'll be doing everything we can to make sure that those that are doing the right thing, are doing the wrong thing, don't do the wrong thing and are dealt with. Thank you.
Is that border pass system likely to change and require people who've already applied to reapply? So
No, what we're going to do is, and there'll be plenty of advance notice for this because we've got time to get this in place. As I said, automated. At the moment, there is a system where they're engaged by real people. We do believe we can automate this a lot. They can upload their vaccination certificates, and that becomes part of the application. When we go to the home quarantining approach after 70%, of course, we have a compliance regime that checks to make sure people are actually home quarantined as they are, including apps that assist us to do that. So a lot of technology can come into this, and as I said, vast majority of people are doing the right thing. They're not the ones we have to worry about. We'd be focused on those that are still trying to do the wrong thing.
Thank you. Does with the masks go and get 80% first dose, is the health advice on that you should still wear it indoors and it's like sunscreen where it's not mandated but it's still recommended, or is it, it's safe, you don't have to wear it?
No, look, absolutely. That's a great analogy that we know masks reduce transmission, and at the moment we're in a lovely position where we've got no community transmission in Queensland, and this is about giving people a breather, so to speak. But I'd still recommend to people that they do wear masks in situations where there's crowded environments, particularly indoors, and I'd probably advise them to wear masks on public transport as well to protect themselves. But what we will see is that as cases come back into Queensland, we're very likely to reintroduce mask wearing to protect those local communities where transmission has occurred. So we're making it more selective and making it consistent across Queensland, and asking people to use their best judgment and make decisions for themselves to keep themselves safe.
Under these new frameworks, say you have to have a vaccine passport, you can be essential and you don't need, you can't get the vaccine. How does that work?
I can't answer specifically on how that will work with the app itself, but there are a very, very small number of reasons for exemptions for the vaccination. But I might pass that to others to comment on the IT details.
Commissioner, could I just ask, sorry,
Yep, thank
off
you.
topic.
Off topic?
Review is underway to Queensland Serious Violent Offender Scheme. Does the scheme go far enough in keeping the state's birth criminals behind bars?
I think what a review is extraordinarily healthy. So let's see what comes from the review. I'm always a great supporter of, if you've had something in place, that you do a review and see, whether improvements need to be made. I'm aware of, some of the chatter behind the scenes, but very supportive of the review.
So obviously you don't think the government's too soft on crime. You want to see what comes out of the report?
I think it's extraordinarily important to see what comes out of the report, to see what the evidence is at the moment, to see what comes into the report and what needs to be done. And good policy decision comes as a result of that.
One for the Health Minister, really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Go on, Lydia.
No. Last week it was 4,000 health workers who were given a show cause notice. Can you give an update on that?
Sure. So there was about 4,000 people who had not identified that they were vaccinated. There's only been a small number of show causes issued at the moment, less than 100. We are working through the unvaccinated group. But even in the last week, I believe the figures have gone up 2% already as far as vaccination. So we saw the same thing happen with aged care. I'm very confident that we will get to very high levels. Inevitably, there'll be a very small percentage who don't want to get vaccinated, but we are seeing an increase as we go through this process of having people either working elsewhere where they're not a risk, or they're on leave at the moment while we go through that process. But we are seeing increased numbers.
How many are on leave, sorry, at the moment? It was 4,000 last
Oh,
week.
look, there's about 4,000 still on leave, but remembering a number of those are on leave because it's long leave. So they're on leave because of annual leave, long service leave, maternity leave, and so forth. So
So just quickly while you're there, are you disappointed we haven't hit 80% first dose rate?
we are so close, and the Commonwealth has changed their reporting time frame. So later on today we will see the updated data, which will include pharmacies and GPs. So we'll see what the figure is today. We are so close, Queenslanders. Keep it going. I know we can get to 80% double dose. I know we can get beyond that. Southeast Queensland's already well above the 80% rate already. So just come out and get vaccinated. I know we'll get there, and we'll get there very soon.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
More entertaining than us.
Yeah, you'll be talking cricket next, so hang around. I love cricket.
My son would be very envious.
Yeah, we're good. Ben, you're the one. You're interested in this too? Well, good morning, and it's great to be here at the Gabba with CEO of Queensland Cricket, Terry Svensson, and great to hear the announcement from the Premier this morning. And in line with that announcement, we'll see from the 17th of December all Stadiums Queensland's stadia being requirements for all patrons and staff being fully vaxxed. As I say, from the 17th of December, patrons can know that they can come to full capacity stadia events, knowing that the patrons around them and the staff at the event will be fully vaccinated, which will mean we'll be able to lose any of those restrictions that have applied to those events at the current stage. That means that the first event of that size and scale will be the Brisbane Heat versus Sydney Thunder match on the 19th of December here at the Gabba. The kick-off for home matches for the BBL season, and what a way to start that stage of the summer of cricket. But it's an indication of how people will need to be fully vaccinated if they want to enjoy the experience of the BBL matches, of one-day internationals, of the AFL and NRL as those seasons reopen. And it's very important that people who are great lovers of sport, that they get out there and get vaccinated. It's their passport to enjoying the great quality, high-level elite sport that we enjoy here in Queensland. So this is a great day for all sport lovers, a great day for all Queenslanders, but the key is to get vaccinated. So really happy to go through some of the details in a moment, but I might let Terry respond from Queensland Cricket's point of view in the first instance.
Thank you very much, Minister. Good morning, everyone. Cricket Australia and Queensland Cricket today welcome the government's announcement in relation to vaccinations and 80% vaccinations here, or double vaxxed here at the Gabba. The first game for us will be, as the Minister said, on the 19th of December. That'll be against the Thunder, and it's important that all fans are able to feel safe as they come here to watch what will be a fantastic summer of cricket. So for us, cricket, if you're going to Metricon or if you're attending the Gabba here to watch either the one-day games or the BBL games, it's incredibly important that you are double vaxxed, and again, we welcome the government's decision today. Thank you.
So just running through some of the details, this applies to all of the Stadiums Queensland's venues. So the stadiums owned and operated owned by the Queensland government. So that includes the Suncorp Stadium, the Gabba, Metricon, as mentioned by Terry, Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville, Nissan Arena, and the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, and also applies to some events that are coming up early in the new year at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre that are concerts, live music events. So really encourage people to make sure that they're aware of those requirements. The threshold that we've got in relation to this is for those events where there will be more than 5,000 patrons. And that's for good reasons, in that we do have a number of activities that operate around our stadia that are not stadia-style events. They're smaller scale events. They're operations of businesses like physiotherapists here at the Gabba, etc. So we're not trying to interrupt or change those arrangements, but make this ruling enforced under a Queensland Health direction across those major events that are happening at our stadia. And the question might be raised as to why this isn't applied to the Ashes. The first Ashes test being hosted here, rightfully, back as the first test here at the Gabba as part of the Ashes test series this year, commencing on the 8th of December, is obviously before that 17 December date, which is pretty clear in relation to change of border arrangements. Change of arrangements has been flagged by, in terms of vaccination at venues, as flagged by the Premier today. We didn't think it was appropriate to seek to try and apply that to that event, which has sold, I think, some 53,000 general admission tickets already. but that will mean that there will be some level of COVID safe plans applied to the stadia for that event. So that should be understood by people, and that'll be fully explained and sent out to all ticket holders at the time in the lead up to that event, starting on the 8th of December and running through, hopefully with a 5-day test match on the 12th of December. Look, I think what they will do is help massively encourage those people in those communities to get vaccinated. What I've been hearing from industry, and obviously I work very closely with the tourism and hospitality industry, what I've been hearing from them consistently is that they want a mandate like this in order to drive those vaccination rates and to put them in the best position to see their businesses back to 100% operation. It will be applied to all people attending the event. So, as was said earlier by I think the Premier or the Health Minister, as we've seen, we'll have attached to the check-in app, which has been used for people attending all stadiums now for most of the last 12 months. We've had there'll be a capacity for people's vaccination status to be demonstrated there as well, and that'll be part of the check-in process. Stadiums Queensland have assessed this and identified that it will potentially require some extra staffing at turnstiles, but there are some handheld extra ticketing turnstiles that they can apply in that case to help move people through quickly. But we will provide messaging to patrons in the lead up to those events to ensure that they arrive in a timely way to help make sure that they're in their seat and be able to enjoy every moment of play at all of those events. That is the way in which the health mandate has been written, and as I understand it, how it's applied in other jurisdictions as well. So that's a matter of health advice at the time, and I'll encourage people to look for the details that we'll send through to them at the time. Equally, very clearly, the advice we've heard from the Acting Chief Health Officer today is that encouraging people in those circumstances where they don't think that they can socially distance, that wearing masks is very advisable. I would suspect that wearing masks would be a very advisable thing to come in and out of the stadia, but once you're in your seat, the rules that will apply at that time will apply. Well, that's a matter that's to be further worked out, but we're as you can see, we've chosen that threshold of 5,000 in order that it is practical and responsive to the risk. That's been the advice from the public health officials that have worked on this program and plan with Stadiums Queensland and with the government. That's not part of the health directive that we're announcing today, and I would encourage people to make sure that they encourage vaccination and the participation of vaccinated persons, but that's not part of the health directive that we announced today. As I say, that'll apply to all those events at those stadia that I have referred to that are at that have that capacity requirement. Oh, look, I think this will be one of those encouragements for people to make the choice, consult with their medical professionals and get vaccinated. Of course, the definition of what we regard as doubly vaccinated includes people who have a genuine exemption from their doctors. So there are a range of circumstances which people are in, but I encourage absolutely everyone who can get vaccinated to get vaccinated.
Last question.
Terry, could we ask you maybe, just obviously it's been a pretty tough couple of years to be running sporting leagues. What sort of relief does this bring?
Well, look, what I think it does is, as I said, we welcome today's decision. I think it It provides certainty for fans that they can come unrestricted and watch some great cricket over summer. There was a question earlier around the players. All of the players, contracted players across Australian cricket, are fully vaccinated. And certainly from a Queensland cricket point of view, our staff are fully vaccinated as well. So I think what it does is cricket's leading the way, and we're certainly encouraged by the decisions today that the government made that fans are able to come to the cricket over summer and have no restrictions. So to see their heroes play out here at the Gabba and at Metricon at the Gold Coast. Thank you.
Very good.